So let me first introduce you guys. Hello, welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today we are here with a new guest. You can introduce yourself if you want.
I'm Tessa. Hello.
Yeah, this is Tessa.
I'm just Tessa.
Yeah. Do you want to? Before we're gonna hit a back day, and as you guys see from the title, we're talking about how to handle mockery. The word mockery.
Mockery.
Yep, that one. Ridicule, and then also just skeptics. My brain is turning off.
You're good.
Skeptics, and then also, if we have some time, we can also talk about how to live alongside people with opposite beliefs or beliefs that just don't completely coexist with ours. So,
Sounds good.
if you would like to lead us in
All right.
prayer.
Lord, thank you for bringing us here today. Thank you for just the blessing of fellowship with other believers. Thank you that you've brought us here together today to discuss these things and to bring glory to you. And I pray that you would do that. You would bring glory to yourself through this discussion, and that you would let your light shine through us. Let us be your salt and your light, Lord. And that you would just bless this workout and this conversation.
Amen. That was a lot better than what you made it seem like it was going to be.
It's a lot better than what I thought it was going to be.
I like it. All right, now the grinding starts. Okay. Is over how to handle ridicule and mockery, and skeptics as drop kick their chest in. Jeez, taking all so this is purely just to activate your lats. I like to turn across so the way your lats are put in your body, they naturally want to go across your body. I was actually watching a YouTube video over this. JPG coaching. And then you just want to think of driving with your elbows. But before we give our answers, do you want to answer this really quickly?
What is it?
How do you personally handle when people mock you for your faith, if you've experienced that in life? But if you haven't, then you could just give how you think you would handle it.
Yeah, I would say short answer is 50 cal. 50 cal with the scope. No, I'm just kidding. Probably. What does the Bible say? What does the Bible say about vengeance?
No, what do you?
It says, "Don't do it."
Don't do it. Exactly. But what me personally?
Yeah, like how do you think right now if someone were to come up and be like, "You're a Christian," that's stupid.
I would probably laugh. Probably first thing I'd laugh. My uncle is my biggest leader and biggest mentor, and he always says, "Kill him with kindness." So I'd say the best revenge is just doing good in life and having positive.
So step a little farther away. Yeah.
Okay. Should we mention that I'm learning how to do all of this?
Yeah.
I'm not just really bad at it. I've never actually done this before.
Her training style is completely different than mine.
I have a totally different training style. So that's why I'm bad. No other reason. I'm not naturally bad at this.
God.
He's judging hard right now.
Like that?
Yeah, and then so you're just thinking tuck your elbow down.
Anyways, be positive. Smile. Positive.
Put that on a t-shirt.
That would not get any sales. I'm sorry. That'd be a terrible t-shirt.
Or you could like put it on like a little wooden sign, and you could sell it to like 1 million middle-aged women to put on their mantles.
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. I feel like I could see that in a living room or something.
I feel like I have seen that in many different rooms, or like kitchens or bathrooms.
That's fair.
Anyway, one for every room of the house.
Oh, I'd say like 2, just in case you forget when you turn around from that side of the wall.
Exactly.
You always gotta be reminded. Okay.
I have not been counting.
Oh, yeah, this isn't like a set rep range. This is purely just to make sure you can feel it when you're. Do you feel a stretch in that right here? Okay. So, Miss Tessa, have you, in your walk with God, ever been in a situation where you get ridiculed or mocked, or have heard other people or talking and mocking the faith?
I feel like nothing that has been like outright, like to my face.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're a Christian? That's stupid.
You're so
lame, nerd.
Yeah.
I feel like that's not usually the way that like ridicule and mockery works. It tends to be more subtle.
Yeah.
Subtly, yeah, all the time. Like, or not like specifically towards me, but like towards Christianity in general. There are definitely like stereotypes
Okay.
and certain jokes. Yeah, you hear that all the time.
Oh yeah,
Definitely.
that's just kind of how it is.
Pretty normal.
So, do you tend to just kind of shake it off, or do you like ignore them, or do you try to be like Peter and cut their ears off?
Yes, I take out my nunchucks.
I forgot about the nunchucks.
Don't forget about the nunchucks.
Her secret weapon, the famous.
Whip them out.
This will feel a little. Well, yeah, it's not going to be much
bit more
heavier.
intense. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, what was the question? Asking how I handle it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not saying this is how you should handle it, because it's
okay.
probably
That's
like
okay.
I'd say my natural reaction would be like, in the moment, outwardly, I'd be like, whatever, this is dumb, laugh it off. Inwardly, I would be like, I would be
mocking a little bit.
I would be like,
okay, that's
a
fair
little ticked off inwardly, definitely.
That's fair.
Or like go back and like talk about it with someone and be like,
yeah, that's understandable. Though.
I feel like that's my like initial reaction to it. Not the reaction you should have, but the one that I feel like
the natural human
is like
reaction. Yeah,
I'm not a nerd.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Okay. So, not to, because I definitely don't think we deserve it. But do you think some of the times, like, I know this is not like everyone, but like when you see a sign, where it's like repent or you're going to hell. So like we're gonna go over here actually. So when you see a sign like that, let me see. When you see a sign like that, and then we have people who are like the Pharisees that that are hypocrites, and then we get mocked and kind of grouped in with them. Not to say it's fair that we're grouped in with them, but do you think sometimes it's hard to word it without just saying fair, like deserved almost? You think sometimes
like the stereotype we might have is deserved?
Yeah, that sounds wrong. It sounds like I'm saying we deserve to be mocked.
I mean, I kind of get what you're saying. Like there definitely are like some cases where people will say things, or like you see those signs like you're going to hell if you don't repent, and just going down the highway. You're like,
yeah.
Okay.
A little extreme.
Really? All right. Whoa.
That was scary, but it's all right. Okay. So
I think, honestly, sometimes I do understand why there's a stereotype. It's like, I hate that there is a stereotype, but I understand, like, looking in, like, history and things that have happened, or just, like, public figures. I think I understand where people are coming from when...
Huge. Too big.
I'm gonna sit here for 5 minutes, so...
Curls?
Yeah.
I got you. That's what I thought you were doing over there. I got you.
I'm not there yet.
One day. So... Oh, wait, finish your statement. So
I understand where people are coming from when they make jokes or comments like that. I can totally see why they would think that and why they would be making those comments. And sometimes when it's like about certain topics, I'm like, yeah.
That's fair, yeah.
I kind of get it.
How would you, like, I'm asking this not in the video, like this general question. Is there a right way to respond to people having a bad misconception of Christianity because of people who are like, you're going to hell?
I think, like, if people have had like bad experiences with like churches in the past, or just
in general, like, even if they're like, if someone is like, yeah, I was driving down the road and I saw a sign where it's like, you're going to hell if you don't believe, like, and then now they're like, well, Christians just want to send or damn us all to hell. I don't know if that's the right word. That's not a cuss word, is it?
Well, is that the right word? If you're using it in like the literal
damnation, yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. Okay, I didn't want to.
Like, it's an actual word.
Okay, so I didn't want to.
Okay.
So this should be not.
Is this still warming up?
This is gonna be harder. Yeah, this.
Oh, that was the warm up.
For me, I kind of forgot the plate was there wasn't more than a plate.
Okay.
So for you, this will be your first actual set.
Okay. All right.
What up?
So just
Going
like,
good. Yeah. So the whole
like
point
that?
is just like that. How
Okay,
you're turned so you can
movement?
stretch. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Like,
So-
how would I respond to someone?
Yeah. Like, how do you?
Oh, it moved in a different way than I thought it would.
Is that?
Hold on. It's okay. I thought it was gonna come more like this,
Okay.
and it went like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, where are you going? Wait, how many reps would you usually do?
About 10. That's the
Okay.
goal. I try to start with my weaker side, so that way you can even them out. Because
Mhm.
if you're able to do like 20 reps with your right hand, but then only 10 with your left, you can't even those muscles out. If
Okay.
that makes sense. So yeah, what would you, if someone like a friend of yours or like a
Mhm.
family member that happens to not believe was like, why do you Christians always like, you guys are always mocking or not mocking us? You're always trying to scare us with hell. How would you
Mhm.
respond to that?
I have had experiences like I actually had a couple conversations like that with a family member actually.
Okay.
Who
You guys
had
switch your arms.
Okay.
Yeah.
like a bad experience with a church and
Okay.
felt really like kind of judged
Okay.
rather like you're doing all this wrong and blah, 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 blah. And I think I would say I'm sorry you had that experience and I wish that it had not been handled in that way. And I don't agree with that. I don't know what would like going through the person's mind or what their intentions were.
Yeah.
But I think I would say I wish that had been handled in a different way. I don't think that when a new person comes to church or just someone comes to church, I don't think that when we're dealing with, they have like a different opinion or if they're doing something wrong,
Yeah.
we should go like, that's wrong.
You're
You
going
need
to
to
hell.
change
Yeah.
it. You're going to hell. I think that's not a good way to handle it.
Yeah.
Because we all have stuff going on.
Yeah. That is.
And it's not our place to judge. And I think,
agree.
especially if it's someone that's new to church or Christianity and they're exploring that, I think it's like
That was the softest like release of the weights. Do you think you could go heavier for your next one?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put
it's hard to count and talk at the same time. I feel like I'm saying a lot of half sentences. I would think I would like tell them, I'm sorry you had that experience and I wish that it had been different. And I hope you don't judge every Christian based on this one experience that you had with this one church or this one person.
Exactly.
Because that's not going to be the case with everybody. Even like the best people, you might have a negative
you say
interaction.
Possessed?
Yes,
I
possessed.
did. That's what I was
no,
hey.
the best.
Okay, I was like, I don't know if I've had an interaction with one of them yet.
Oh yeah, all the time.
It's just like an average Tuesday.
I hope not.
Okay, I like that. Responding with love.
Respond with love, for sure. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of like verses that point to that. Respond with love and gentleness.
Yes. I'll pull it up on the video,
Okay.
but I don't have them on top of my head.
I have them on my phone.
Oh,
Hold on.
that even
Hold
works
on.
better.
Let me look. Let me check. I have like a little notes thing.
Okay. Ooh.
Okay.
See, I had notes, but obviously I can't look at my notes.
Convenient.
I know. It's like, they were so good too.
Okay.
You trust me, they were the best notes ever.
I'm sure they were. Okay, I think there's a lot of verses where it talks about responding with love and blessings.
Okay.
When, or like, I actually don't have this one, but there's a verse that if someone hits you, turn the other cheek.
Yeah.
That's how we're called to respond. This one is.
I know it's in Matthew.
This is a good one. This is Romans 12, 19 through 21. It says, "Do not take revenge, my dear friends, but leave room for God's wrath, for it is written, 'It is mine to avenge, and I will repay,' says the Lord." On the contrary, if your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he is thirsty, give him something to drink. In doing this, you will heap burning coals on his head. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. And then 1 Peter 3:9 says, "Do not repay evil with evil or insult with insult. On the contrary, repay evil with a blessing, because to this you are being called so that you may inherit a blessing."
I like
and then
that.
I have one more. This
Wait,
one
wait,
is
wait,
Matthew.
wait.
This one is Matthew. It says it. There were so many. I was looking for them, and I was like, I pulled up, and it's just like list after list.
Okay.
This is said over and over again. Wait, is it?
No, you're good. That's for you. But
Okay.
yeah, you're not in
Okay.
a rush. You're not in a rush.
In Matthew 5:11, it says, "Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you." So it says over and over and over again, if you are wrong, if someone does evil, if someone insults you, slanders you, hurts you, repay it with a blessing. And I think the first one, it's saying that you don't need to take revenge. That's not your job.
Yeah.
It's not.
This
you
is
don't
gonna
need
feel
to
heavy
focus on
for
that,
you.
because that's God's role.
Yeah.
You can lead by being a good example, and I think that's the best thing that we can do.
You got thrown the mic drop right there. That's actually I like those a lot. The ones I pulled up for at least mockery. So, because those are definitely more so when people like are. That almost goes with like how to deal with people that have opposite views and stand. What did you say? What did we say was
opposite like beliefs?
Yeah, and just like the people you're around in your community.
Wait, should I be bracing on this?
You can. Sometimes if it gets heavy,
I don't know if it like helps, or if I'm like
to a degree it does. I kind of put my hand there just to keep myself from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm like shifting. I'm like.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So then I would throw in a brace a little bit.
Okay.
But so in Proverbs, in Proverbs 9 and 14, I can't remember which verses, but there was one. One of them says to basically, well, let my brain think. Before I go to the Proverbs, so let me do the one I do remember.
Okay.
So in Isaiah, I was reading. It was in the 40 plus chapter. I think maybe Isaiah 43.
Okay.
I really like the story actually. That's the book I'm in right now, which is I've never read it before, so it's a good book. Took a while for me to start actually envisioning the story that was happening, but Hezekiah, I think might be how you pronounce
Hezekiah?
it. Yes, that one. Basically the same thing. Tomato. So he's the king, obviously, and the king of Assyria was coming to invade them, and Hezekiah, is that what it is?
Hezekiah?
Yeah. So he had sent out like basically not his henchmen, but like his people, like people who had authority, but just under him. He sent them out to greet the king, or like to meet up with them before they came to invade them. And basically, the king of Assyria was trying his best to belittle God and how powerful he was, even though God had the past however long been basically saving them from battles. And he was I don't know every single word like thing he was trying to say, but he was doing any and everything he could to try to make the people doubt and basically surrender to him, basically saying like, we invaded all these other places that had their own gods and they didn't win.
Is that the one where he starts like saying a bunch of like horrible stuff to like try and intimidate them basically because they're under siege? Yeah, and he's like trying to like break down the morale.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I like how they didn't speak once. Like they just ended up turning away and walking away. Basically declining the deal that he was offering. And it was because the king had told them not to answer. And it's one of the Proverbs, either 9 or 14, that also kind of goes with that, where it's just saying you shouldn't respond to mockery. Because fools, I'm butchering what it says, but basically they don't like correction, and they're not going to actually, they don't want to hear it from what I got from it. They don't want to hear what's right. They just want to sound, they want to mock you. And so responding with, even if it's like, so if someone is dead set on mocking the Christian faith and inadvertently mocking you for following it, and trying to point out all these stupid like things they think are stupid of why we're following him and why we put our faith in invisible. What I hear a lot of the times, an invisible sky daddy. That's literally all I hear it all the time, and like so stuff like that, just to kind of belittle what you're standing for. The you obviously could try your best to give them all these facts and whatnot of yes, he is real, this is why we believe, but they're not gonna. It's almost like it's in the Gospels, feeding pearls to pigs.
Yeah,
they're gonna. They don't want.
Yeah, they don't appreciate. Yeah,
they don't want it. So.
I think I get what you're saying. Yeah, where it's like I don't think it's not wrong to argue and have discussions, but I had this professor that told me this. She was teaching us how to like have a debate, and one of the things she said is when you're having a debate, the goal of the argument or the debate is not to win. You don't want to win. Your goal is for the other person to understand where you're coming from and consider your point. And so you're not like attacking them. And to do that, you want to be having a discussion with someone who will actually like take that into consideration.
And not just trying to,
there's this quote I heard recently. I think, what was it? I can't remember who it was by, but he said, if you wrestle with a pig, you're going to get money, but only one of you is going to enjoy it. So you have to consider.
Mic drop again. That is actually, that's really good.
So it's good to consider. I don't think it's bad to get into arguments and even, wait, I have more verses. I have a verse about it.
And if they get
I had someone ask me and she was like, I feel like I shouldn't have to like prove everything I believe because I think that like she was like wrestling with the idea of like, should I just believe because of faith or should I be like, should I be able to have arguments? And I think we should be able to. I don't think we should like seek out arguments. But we should seek out discussions and prepare for them.
And seek truth.
In 2 Corinthians 10:5, it says, we demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God, and we take captive every thought and make it obedient to God. And then 1 Peter 3:15 says, but in
I'm so sorry. Can you repeat that first one?
Yes. The first one is 2 Corinthians 10:5, and these are all in NIV. They're all the same. It says, we demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God. And we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. So it's talking about like it is okay to like be able to break down those arguments, and that's a good thing. And it says in the next verse, not the next verse in 2 Corinthians, in 1 Peter 3:15, it says, but in your hearts revere Christ as Lord, and always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give reason for the hope that you have. But do this with gentleness and respect. I think that's like kind of a good basis for how we should get. I'm gonna run out of mics for me to throw.
I know.
I think that's like a really good basis for when you're getting into any discussion. Think like, am I talking to someone who is willing to hear my point, and am I willing to hear their point? That's another part of it. And when you're in an argument with someone who has a belief different than yours, like you want to be able to listen to them and like respect their opinion as well. Not like agreeing with your opinion.
You don't have to agree to have
and you can be gentle and seek out those discussions with people who are willing to listen to reason. I think that's a good thing. But also being gentle and respectful with it is really important.
I was talking to one of my clients because he is also in the faith, and I was telling him was it 1 Peter 3:5? Is that what you said? The last one?
I think so. The one we were talking about.
Oh yeah, okay. Always being ready to so it was a while ago, like I'd say in the first 6 months of my journey with God, like real journey with him. And there was a church that was like one of the signs or like one of the things you would see near the pastor speaking. And let me think. And it was that. And so that definitely inspired me, especially with like my friend that's an atheist, how I get to use him every time he tries to bring up a point to like either disprove Christianity or try to dismay any part of it. I get to now learn from it because of the first interaction I ever had with him. I thought that was ours. I was not ready to give an answer, and that I felt very. To be honest, I felt ashamed at the time because looking back on it, the answers I gave. Obviously, no matter what I say, like how wrong I am about God, he's still gonna stay who he is. He's not gonna change just because I mess up how to portray him. And we're actually done with these.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to think. We're gonna go to rear delts. I was gonna send us over here, but they are taken. So what was I going with that? Give me an answer. Yeah, and I think that's what I was going with. So I was talking to my client about it, and I feel like for the longest time I was worried so much, or I was getting worried that I was starting to, and this just stopped being an issue of mine, I'd say in less than a week ago, but I was worrying that I was more focused on knowing of God rather than getting to know him. And like an analogy I heard that really made me think on it was, so there's a guy who, you obviously know who Michael Jordan is, right? Okay, I had to make sure. Well, because I asked someone that, and they knew
Not
him.
well, but yes.
So one of the greatest basketball players. So the dude wasn't obviously like friends with him, but he was like, so I am close friends with Michael Jordan, and so I know him as a friend and as a person. And then there's a fan of Michael Jordan who comes up one day to me and is like telling me all the statistics about him and all the little fun facts you can know about him. And the difference is one knows of Michael Jordan and all the small details versus one actually knowing him. And so that made me like think, because the way I like to spend time where I'm not just studying scripture or like stuff like that with God, but I also really like growing my knowledge on how to answer these almost like tougher questions for the faith. So I'll have you do it 2 arms. The reason I don't is because my collarbone does not like the feeling. You're just arms, and yeah, you don't need to go past like straight across.
Okay.
So yeah. So yeah, and it'll be the rear delts to the back of your shoulder, and so yeah, that was something I was talking to him. I was starting to get worried that that's what I was doing, but what was I gonna say?
It's like the difference between like intellectual knowledge of God and like having a personal relationship and love of God.
Yes, I agree, and that's why, like, because I feel like that's where I was having the internal conflict, was because I love knowing more about the God I'm choosing to serve and that I believe is true. And so that's why I feel like me studying and getting more of these quote unquote fun facts and just deeper diving into it is because I'm like, it also has helped me be more sure of my faith instead of it just being a blind faith, if that makes sense. But there was a question when we were over there. I was going to use this whole shablam to ask for your opinion or your advice, but
should I be feeling it in my traps?
You're going to feel it a little bit. Your goal is not to squeeze your shoulder blades once you come all the way out here. That's why I try to stop before I really. And then the more straighter your arms, you might be. But then also if your arms are a little bent, you're going to just naturally, when you get to this point, they're going to squeeze. But the traps I'm assuming you're feeling are the middle part, so not up.
Oh, I keep hitting them.
You're good. So you also feel it up here?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like right here, and then I do feel it a little.
Okay. So you will feel, even if you're trying your hardest not to, you're gonna feel it in this lower part of your trap. You're gonna get muscle work from it, but it's not gonna so much. You're not gonna have those mountaintops.
That's where I feel it. In the top of my traps. So that's why I'm like, I don't know if that's a good thing. Am I sitting like too low? Am I doing like this?
Maybe you might be.
Maybe I need to raise the seat.
I don't think it raises.
It's not like extreme.
I don't think it raises any higher.
Okay.
Okay.
The hairstyle, bro?
Yeah, my hair's finally long enough to braid.
In that group.
Yeah.
What is this? And then you're like,
then you like copy the message below, and it doesn't show up.
That
So
makes...
I was like, I'm not gonna like keep texting this and be like, I can't see that.
Basically, it's just saying. So that's a small group. That my goal is no matter what, I plan on, even if it's one person showing up, to actually meet with anyone who wants to tomorrow, later in the day.
Saturdays.
Yeah. And so that's basically what it's saying. Because when I tried to start a Bible study, I had a group chat for it, and then no one showed up, and I was like, the people, even though there was like one person who actually wanted to, but I was like, well, there's no point since it's just one of us. So the point I was trying to get across is even if it's just me and one other person, I'm cool to go, and whether it's grabbing food or like watching a movie, so that way people feel comfortable. Yeah, I didn't realize. I should have. Yeah, that's my bad.
I figured it was something like that because you were talking to me about it.
Yeah. Oh, I'll show you really quickly. So you want to just look like that.
Okay.
And
maybe
then,
I need to straighten out.
Yeah,
because I'm used to doing like rear.
Those ones.
The ones where you go.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So like my arms are usually bent.
Yeah, that makes sense. What were we just talking about?
That's a good
something.
Question. Some sort of something.
That's a great. Yeah, it
Probably.
was. It had to have been some sort of something.
Surely.
Ooh. Okay.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I can't space. I'm spacing it completely. This is not what we were talking about. But do you have any advice? So, I think I don't say I face a lot of mockery per se, but definitely. I mean, I guess it's considered mockery, but it's a lot of like small, like little, like I can't think of the word, like small jokes to
like
try
small little like joking jabs.
Yeah, like that are definitely So they're like those, and they're either from my family, which is always like, dang, but they don't obviously. They probably don't see it that way, but it's definitely something where it's like,
Can I ask if your family are Christians, or it's fine if you don't want to?
How dare you ask me? No,
not a big deal.
This is the whole point of this. Is 50 was where I believe.
I'm going to ask you like 10 questions.
You're good. You're good. Yeah.
Answer them all now in one sentence.
That's fair.
Okay.
No. My grandparents are.
Okay.
On both sides. My mom is on the spectrum. I'd say she tends to seem like she believes in the Christian God, but she's not a Christian.
Okay.
And then all my siblings, no. Okay. I don't even know if I'd say they're agnostic. I think they just don't care enough to even think about that stuff.
Okay.
Do you still building your traps?
Nope.
Okay. And then also, the slower you're going this way, the more it's just instantly going to start being sore. So
go faster or
no,
slower?
Go slow.
Go slower.
The slow is good on the way back.
Okay.
So yeah, and that's I think if they were Christians, I don't think the jokes would be made. But they're like my mom, what was it, yesterday? I believe I went to her work. So she's the GM at Ulta, and so I went there because I was just really bored. And was it yesterday? It might have been 2 days ago. It was one of the few days of this week.
One of the days of the week, you know.
In the last 19 years, it was
probably
one of those
ends
days.
In the word day, maybe.
I don't know. That's risky. That is risky. And so I showed up, and she was helping a customer that was an older lady, but then some of her work people were also there. We're gonna do one more of these.
Okay.
We're also behind the cashier thing. And she as soon as I showed up, she was like, yeah, my little son or something along those lines, addressing me.
Offspring of mine.
One of the descendants of mine is looking for him a little Christian wife, and she does it all the time in a joking I don't think her intentions are he's too good to date anything less than a Christian, but like she definitely says it to where it is almost like a little jab, like
like it feels passive aggressive in a way almost.
And so like stuff like, so that's usually what I get the most mockery out of her from. And then like my brothers, like there's been times where I was standing out on campus like on the weekends when people were out partying, and I'd hold a sign just sharing the gospel, and one of my brothers, he what was he was going to the bar that I was standing outside of where everyone would end up going, and he's basically being like, what are you doing, like question, like he wasn't, I guess, mocking me, but he was like making it seem like what I was doing was stupid. And so like I think I just ended up, I played it off per se, where I was just like, I'm just spreading the gospel, doing what I like to do. And but those things are stuff that like stick with me as far as like, should I have handled it in a not a more aggressive way? Should I cut them off? Or I almost went too far with my joke. Like how should I enlighten them more? Or like, in your opinion, how would you, obviously you're not in the same shoes, but how would you have handled, how do you recommend someone handles those?
I think I have a verse. I know, shocking. I have a couple verses actually.
She's like, I actually knew this conversation.
If I can open my phone. I know my own passcode.
Yeah, you got this.
I've got this. Where is it? Okay. So we're, as Christians, we are called to base our life, and we're trying off of Christ's life, and we're called to be imitators of Christ, right? And I think we're called to like walk in his example. And the way that we see him handle being like slandered in the Bible, in Isaiah 53:7, it says
Jesus was in Isaiah?
It was Isaiah 53. Okay, it says he was oppressed and afflicted, yet he did not open his mouth. He was led like a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before its shearers is silent, so he did not open his mouth. So he didn't fight back in the moment. But we also see him.
So this is a prophecy to give context to them. I was like, he was not in the Old Testament. He wasn't walking around. But that's them. He was grittying around in the Old Testament. Okay, that makes more sense.
So we see in Luke, though, we do see him praying to God about it later. Not like in front of the people who were slandering him, but later we see him bringing it to God. I think this is when he was on the cross. And he cries out to God. It's Luke 23:34. Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." And this was as they were dividing up his clothes by casting lots. He asked for their forgiveness because they didn't know what they were doing.
Okay. That is.
And I think that kind of offers like a good, like, kind of like a formula to base, not to get mathy. I hate math. No, thank you. But it's a formula. Like, you know how in math where you have like an outline?
Oh, I thought you were saying I hate Matthew. I was like,
Matthew,
wait, what did I miss? What did Matthew do? Okay, math. That makes
math.
Okay.
But it's like when you have a formula, it's this outline of like, you can kind of see it in like Jesus' life, but then you can put it in your own context where, like, if you're dealing with that, I think probably the right way to go about it is not to, especially in the heat of the moment, our initial reaction is to like defend ourselves and be like, "You're wrong."
Yeah, that's
And I think it's better.
Just drop it right there. Appreciate it.
I thought I was gonna drop it.
It's better to not say anything at all than worry about being caught up in the heat of the moment, and then we can respond with grace and with love, and that's going to look different in every situation. Sometimes it may be saying something, sometimes it may be saying nothing at all, and just taking that with grace. And then bringing that to God later. And because it is hard, it's like, it stings. It stings your pride. And I think that's probably, I know for me, that's a big reason. That's a big anxiety with sharing the gospel. It's like, what are people going to say? How are they going to react? And just, I think that's something, it's like you're going to run into that. And we know we're going to be ridiculed. And we know we're told we're going to be ridiculed.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to.
He promises. He makes sure you
he
know.
Promises.
You're going to.
Yeah. Wait, I have another verse.
He's like,
another verse.
No way. I didn't believe this would happen.
Okay. And in 1 Peter, I'm worried I'm gonna hit the mic. In 1 Peter 4:13, but rejoice inasmuch as you participate in the sufferings of Christ, that you may be overjoyed when his glory is revealed. So we can know that people can mock us and break it down. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
We can expect it. And we're told to react with joy to that. Which is weird.
It's hard.
It's
it is.
I don't want to.
I don't want to suffer. That doesn't sound awesome.
That doesn't sound fun. But we know that. We also know, I think, why we can be assured that we can find joy in that. We can be assured because anything, if you think about it, anything that someone might mock you about, they could mock you about your reputation, and they could just kind of tear you down. But no one can do anything to the treasures that you have stored up for you in heaven. And so we have that assurance.
Heaven, throw the treasures away.
So we know we have that waiting for us. And we know that that's what's really important. And so if someone tries to tear down and stab at which it hurts.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
it's not
stab.
fun. It's really not fun. But we know that we have things stored for us that are better than anything that is being hurt and torn down on earth. And we can have assurance in that.
That's
it's
the verses.
Another one bites the dust.
I know.
No, I need to stop stalling.
I thought you were about to whip out another verse. For another one bites the dust, I found this. I don't know what I'd do at that point. You got it. You'll take over. I like it. I do like that you brought that verse up. All those verses. And so I can't name one specific, but just thinking about how Christ, when he, even before he was even put, I don't know exactly what you'd call what he was put on, where he got whipped a lot. Even prior, they were all kicking and spitting on him and being and even leading up to before he died on the cross, they're always they are not testing him, but they're mocking him in the sense of trying to bring out the pride in him, in sense of hey, if you're the Son of God, you take care of this right now. Either come off this cross, stop us from persecuting, all this stuff. And so how he not ignores them. He obviously is hearing it, and it probably, I know it definitely sucked for him to hear, but he just went about his day. He just hit a cha-cha slide. It works.
With what you were just saying, it reminded me of another thing. You know when Jesus is being tempted in the desert?
Yeah.
And Satan is tempting him with all of these things. They're all earthly things. And it's it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because that's not whoa.
Sorry. Yeah, I didn't want to.
That is not how I expected that to work. I don't know how I expected it.
He understands what is, it's a little different because obviously he knows, and I don't know per se if he has treasures for himself stored, but he has the promise of being the ruler and the true king of earth, and so he was able to the temptations and the mockery and all that did not faze him because he knew what was promised to him.
It doesn't hold to the value of what he knew was coming.
This should be good for you. So you're holding this part, and this is one where you really focus on squeezing your shoulder blades.
Okay.
You're gonna feel it in your entire upper back.
Fun.
And I like how you answered that two different ways.
This one?
It's up to you. I held these, the top ones. That's for more upper back, and it just the easiest for me to hold.
Okay.
It's really up to you. But boom, that's what I'm talking about. I feel like a personal trainer. That's how I do. That's literally what I say.
Really?
That's the same line I give all my clients. That's what I'm talking about. Each time they do something, that's what I'm talking about. If you can, get 3 more. but I like how, so obviously we see in Christ, we see him handle, sorry, we see him handle like being mocked two different ways. Like when he's tempted by the devil himself and like being mocked, he responds with scripture, and in a sense it's not the same type of mockery where he's it to a degree it is though. I was gonna say it's not the same type of mockery, but like both times they're trying to question and like almost taunt the authority he's claiming to have. But I'm now that I'm saying this out loud, I'm not sure why he handles it two different ways. My guess is that he knows it's like the feeding the pearls to pigs. When he was about to be actually taken to the cross, and like from that whole A to B destination where he's being actually like spit on, ridiculed, and like that whole shabam, he doesn't respond. But then but prior he would answer the Pharisees with scripture, or he'd answer the devil with scriptures to mockery and stuff. Do you have any guess of why?
I mean, you kind of already said it's like the whole situation we were talking about earlier with like it depends on like who you're talking to and how willing they are to hear it. Like if you're talking to a wall or like an angry mob, the angry mob is already an angry mob.
Yeah.
And they're not going to want to see reason. So you trying to fight that angry mob, that's not going to do anything. Like it's not going to work. They're not going to hear you. But when he was talking to the Pharisees, that was more of like a discussion where people were listening and he was teaching. And not even just the Pharisees, like the people in the crowd around were listening and accepting that. So maybe that's why.
Someone would have got benefit from him. Okay, I like that. Do you want to do a 35 or do you? I like it. Right answer. Okay, I didn't think of that.
Actually, wait. Can you like stick this in your pocket?
I was gonna throw it at the mirror.
Chuck it at the mirror. Okay.
Bounces off,
better.
smacks. Okay. I like that actually a lot. So, okay, how do you personally tend to? Mine varies depending on the person, but I try to stay consistent on just not so much brushing it off, but not letting it show, like not being an outrage and doing a Peter and cutting them off, like cutting their ear off. That's what I'm talking about. That seemed hard.
Yeah.
We have one more of that, and then the cables will be easy, or to a degree. So
some more interesting conversation that I've heard while I'm enjoying.
Best type.
Pretty mindless conversation.
This is the best kind of conversation to have.
I think those are interesting things to talk about. Why did he say what he said?
Yeah.
He knew that the Pharisees would eventually find out that he was resurrected. And maybe he wanted to plant the seed that, these are the scriptures.
Yeah.
Maybe they look back on it, they thought,
maybe he was on something.
they were stupid people. I mean, I think the whole thing is remarkable. It's just, what a wonderful thing that happened for us.
Yes. 100%.
It is interesting where you're talking about the Pharisees. When you think about like someone like Nicodemus, how it's like early on he wanted to hear about God, but then he ended up not following him. But then we hear after Jesus' death, wasn't he one of the ones who helped
the rich
bury
guy?
him?
Yeah.
Right? So he came back.
To a degree.
So it's like his story wasn't done there.
Yes,
so you're right. He probably, like, there are definitely seeds being planted within the Pharisees themselves.
I think not in the defense of the Pharisees. I mean, they were a product of their culture.
That is true.
And, and Jesus, let's face it, he was extremely countercultural.
He
was telling them was like
the opposite of what.
Wait a minute. One of my favorite stories. He goes back to his hometown. Where he's from.
And
he's trying to. He's preaching to them, and he's bold enough to say, It's me.
Yeah. And they're like,
I'm
we saw
God's
you.
son.
We saw you grow up.
Yeah. And they said, whoa, wait a minute. This is Joseph's son. United, we're going to kill you for saying that. And I'm sure these were decent people, but it
that
just was
against.
They couldn't grasp it.
That is very
pretty cool. I've read, I guess I've heard in sermons that back then they had no trouble believing that Jesus was a man.
Yeah.
That was
yeah.
Our problem now, but they couldn't believe he was God. Our problem now is believing that
he
was a man.
existed.
We know he was God.
Yeah.
But try to put him as just a regular person like you and me.
They just can't wrap their.
That's pretty cool.
That is. Thank you for adding your input. That is. I like that. I was about to ask a question. His conversation was worth it, though. I don't think the question would have beat the input.
Like a squishy spot here. I keep stepping.
Yeah. So those pads are supposed to be like flipped around every so often, but they just don't. So every time someone drops the weights, it's just denting into it more. Whatever question I had was.
I'm sure it was amazing.
It wasn't that cool. I mean, it was probably the coolest question.
I bet it was like the best question that has ever been asked in history.
It was too good to be asked. That's what the problem was.
It was too powerful. Okay.
What was it?
Trying to think. Do I want the same weight or do I not? I'm gonna try the same weight. We'll see what happens.
Let's go for like 110 reps, one-handed. What was it? Oh, I think it was just him, because the question was about why he handled the situations different, but I think he kind of answered it. I think it was probably way cooler than that, but
like,
we'll say that.
He answered it differently because it was a different situation.
Yeah. If you can't get two more, I should have said a higher number. 2 was too manageable.
Nope, that was fine. I'm happy with that.
That's fair. He's like, oh.
I need another verse. Hold on.
It's been like 3 seconds since the verse.
I don't have enough.
Okay,
I'll
let you pick. Upper back or lats for this.
What would the different exercises be? What's my option?
This with your lats, so you'll lean forward, and you'll hit your lower lats.
Okay.
And then the other option would be this, and so you're kind of pulling. It's gonna feel a little awkward to be honest, but it'll kind of be like the T-bar, where you're pulling up here for you.
Let's do the other one since we already did.
Yeah. So what is this? Oh, is this for the tongue first?
No, I haven't looked it up.
Jeez. On top of your head right now.
I know.
Oh, okay. If you find the verse, cut me off. But as soon as I cast it, no, we're changing this. So I noticed, and this is not just my friends or just my family. I feel like I hear this. Honestly, to be honest, it's too much. But it's just something that's it's almost like breathing at this point for people, where they say, "Oh my G," and or Jesus' name in a vain manner.
Yeah.
Or add more spice to either one of these. I hear one way too much, but I also don't know how to handle them simply asking God to forgive them, and they don't understand the severity and disrespectful it is. I'm assuming here that maybe not as often, because I'm assuming your community is not as...
I'm around a lot of like homeschooled little shelter kids.
Okay, so maybe it's not as bad.
Like younger children who are
Okay.
like, just say the S word, stupid!
You better be stressed. Condemned.
I actually heard a child say that once, and I was like, you know what? It could be worse.
It could be. It could be. So.
But yeah, I don't want to. Definitely more in the last. Yeah, but probably not at all.
How do you? Assuming you don't enjoy it. You might be like, some people could enjoy that. I don't know how kinky. See the humor. That's what I'm working on. I caught myself as it was coming out. I apologize. But like, how do you? Is that something where so you're gonna fully extend your legs. Yeah, if you want to put your toes closer to the bottom, it might be able to scoot farther away. And then so yeah. So you don't want to hunch it over. The only reason I was starting to is so I can get a better stretch on my upper back. But yeah, the point of leaning forward is, I can't explain really the science, but being in that position hits the lower part, and then it's going to be harder for you to, that's a lot. It's going to be harder for you to brace yourself. So once you get, like, you're feeling like you don't have any left in the tank, then you set up like you just did, and then you do normal ones, yeah.
Okay. Sorry, what were you asking?
How would you, like, is that something where, like, because I mean, especially if they're not a believer, they're not going to care about the severity that we see it as.
Yeah. Carry on. Keep going.
And so, like, is that something where you should bring it up to them and be like, hey, not, you don't just say, obviously, don't say that, but like, is that something that we should, as Christians, be checking them for? Or is that something just like, I don't know. I don't have really.
Well, I feel like my back does not feel. I feel like I get there and then I go.
It's not arching the opposite way. If anything, it's not overarching, but it's arching the right way, maybe more than normal. But if you want to do your reps, I mean, now you can stand up, like, have your back flat, and then don't pull your elbows. Yeah, right there. It's gonna feel like you're getting less range of motion, but when you pull past. When your elbows go past your body, it's gonna involve you squeezing your upper back more. But then, so you can fully like extend, and then I stop right there.
Okay, so I don't go further.
Yeah, and it seems like you're getting less of a range of motion, but it's meant for your lats purely. So
I'm so sweaty, they're like slipping
the grip is gonna be something especially with back when there's a lot of weight. Deeper forms or weaker, they're gonna get more tired. But so
okay, so like, should we be checking for
yes, for like
I would say
what?
Where's your first because like was that one got me. Okay. They don't have. If it's an unbeliever, I think it's different because if they're not a believer, why would they think that that's wrong?
Yeah.
That's not wrong to them. But this is, it's like the difference between if you have just like say something random you don't know very well, like kind of an acquaintance, you know that they're doing something like wrong or immoral.
Yeah.
Like they're having an affair or something, and you hear about that. That wouldn't be your place to like, or like you find out that they're struggling with some sin, and you barely know this person. Those are. It would be different if it's someone like a really close family member.
Yeah.
Like if I find out like my brother, I would talk to my brother and I would say, hey, this is wrong. We need to talk about this, and I can confront it. But if it's someone that I don't know, it's not really like in the same context. Like why would they listen to me?
Yeah. What authority
it
do I have?
doesn't mean what they're doing is right.
Yeah.
But if someone doesn't have the same context or doesn't have the same beliefs as you, then they're not going to think what they're doing is wrong, and they're not going to tell you. Like if you went up to them and you just started like condemning them, I think it goes back almost to like what we were talking about in like the very beginning, where people have like experiences where they go to church and they were like condemning.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's like you think that that's wrong, I need to call that out.
Okay.
But it's not always the right decision to call that out until you build a relationship.
Yeah.
If you're at a relationship to a point where you are the right person and you know this person and you know their heart,
Yeah.
you can call people out and call people to accountability. And I think that's really important for people who are really close to you.
There is a
But if
verse
they're
I'm
not
thinking of.
people close to you, then it doesn't make sense for you to hold them accountable.
To the same standards that we would. Yeah.
Because you don't
They're not in the same.
You don't have the same relationship with that person, so it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And so instead, it's better to lead by example.
Yes.
And to be honest, I think you'll probably be more effective if you simply lead by example. It's actually surprising the amount of times, or like how much people notice when you don't swear. Like, don't even talk about like saying like, oh, I don't swear. Because people notice if you simply don't. And I've had multiple people like just say something like they'll swear and then they'll be like, oh, I'm so sorry for saying that. I know you don't swear. And that like sticks out in my mind because I'm like, I never told you that.
Yeah.
I never talked about anything like that, but you still know that. And that still stood out to you
That's
because of the example.
Dude, I need to be better. I think I make that too clear. I think especially, so I will admit I was someone who, I wasn't like a sailor when it came to my tongue as far as cussing, but I would say it and plain simply. And then the N-word, obviously another, in that line, I would say. And obviously I was never purposely like trying to use it the negative way, but it was just a part of my language, just like how anyone says cussing is a part of their language. And I think when I stopped cussing, I just instinctively also tried to stop saying the N-word. And whenever someone that was either white or like would say it like a song and then it gets to a part where it says the N-word, they want me to finish it. And I'm just like, I plain and simply just say I'm not saying that anymore. They're like, why? It's not a cuss word. And then I feel like I just would go too far down the rabbit hole of explaining I don't want to cuss / just sound foolish. And so I need to be better at just not talking, basically. So I'm definitely learning a lot from you. So I'll just say it again towards the end of this workout. But I am thankful that you came on because I get to learn. Next time it'll be $20. I'm famous. It's oh, you haven't? Yeah, it took me a second. I was like, verse.
Well, what you were just saying, I have.
But I don't know the actual verse. You'll definitely, I know you'll know it in 0.2 seconds. But about judging righteously, a lot of people use that, the do not judge, because there is a scripture. It says that. But then it goes on to say more about why in the context. But I know it does say the one time it actually is like you have the permission to judge is people in the church, in community. So people who also have the same standards to go along with what you're saying. So it's not, they're not saying to go out and judge the non-believer because they don't have that same morality that you choose to follow. Versus the people who do claim to say they do, he's almost like giving us the permission to do it, but righteously, not where it's like, yeah, I'm better than you because I don't tomato But let's hear this verse.
But speaking of that makes sense because it's like when you're talking to unbelievers. Oh,
Sorry.
there.
It makes sense because
It makes sense because when you're trying to like talk to unbelievers. And you know that they don't believe that, so you're like trying to get them to come in to work on that. But we know, like they're still in a place of brokenness, and they're still stuck in that. But we know that we have freedom from that, and we're working towards. It's the word
cooking.
Sanctification.
There
That's
you
the
go.
word. We're being sanctified constantly, and so we're constantly working on that. But if someone hasn't been like initially given their life to God, why would they work on sanctification? Because they haven't even begun the process yet. They haven't even. It's like the difference between glorification and sanctification. Or wait, is that the right word? Glorification. Like they're initially saved, and then we know we're like constantly in being sanctified. We're constantly working on the little things. You're not going to do that if you haven't put your faith in Jesus.
That's a bar. Yo,
To pull it up.
what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the YouTube Minecraft stream. Today we are gonna be killing the Ender Dragon. First try. We've completed our workout. No pump check today. I'm tired, but it was a good workout. You survived. Well,
I did.
You survived the easier one. Back is not my favorite, so. But that's you killed it. You killed it. The video cut off. She had. Would you guess another verse? I know it's so crazy.
Shocking.
But she's gonna relay what that is.
I am. Okay. Wait,
and
do
she's
we need
paying
to
me
turn
$20.
Are these on?
No, they're still on. Yeah, they're still on. I can see the screen.
Okay. Like, redo it again.
No. We gotta restart. The whole audio is scratched.
I'm gonna have this verse memorized. Okay. So we were talking about being a living example,
Yes.
and like that's one of the best ways to draw others to Christ by the way that you act. And I think the verse that we had one verse that we went down a rabbit hole with that didn't have the right context, but the one Matthew 5:16 says, "In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your God, your Father in heaven." So I think, that's one of the best ways when you're like living in community with people who have beliefs that oppose yours, or just don't agree with you, or don't know a whole lot about Jesus. I feel like one of the best things you can do is just try your best to live by God's example. And that's a good way to draw others to Him. That felt a lot more lame than the first time I said it.
No, it was.
Maybe?
It's
hard to remember because I don't
no,
know where I was in the conversation.
I don't think it was worse. I think it was just a different. You didn't use the exact same words, so
yeah.
But it worked. I
it was
agree.
Amazing the first time. It was
the
everyone
most
blown away. Whole gym.
There's people who fell over because they were like the presence of the Lord through her speaking was just
Lay
too.
In the spirit. No,
too
we're not
powerful.
doing that. Not doing that. Not going there.
The tongue. She started speaking in them. Okay. I like it. I hope you guys got something from this video.
You have no head.
I know. I hope you guys got
You're doing
something
the sorority
from got something from this video. If you didn't, you got to go back and rewatch it, and then also make 15 fake YouTube accounts to also watch it and stuff like that. Thank you once again. I guess we never gave you asked for your testimony. I killed 1 million people. I was Paul 2.0.
I was an assassin prior, actually.
And then the verses, they started filling my mind. I couldn't stop. But no, once again, thank you, Miss Tessa, for being on the podcast and teaching me. Hopefully, if they didn't, they're pigs. No, I'm just kidding. That's a joke. But yeah,
throw pearls at the camera.
I wish I had pearls I could throw. You could give me the $20 and then I could buy fake pearls.
Nah, no.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Return them and then.
No, I don't have fun. I can throw my ring at them.
It just shatters the phone. Well, that's a great way to
knock it over
end.
again.
Yeah, but
you should have like a phone knocking over count.
That is, yeah. I didn't realize how many times it did fall.
That's how you should end the video.
It's just knocking, yeah. To end it, I'll just it actually shatters.
Actually,
but yeah. Until next time, I hope you guys enjoyed. We season OG Fortnite, but yeah, actually
you should kick it. Do like a.